Hi everyone, and welcome to GW2 Law Summary Episode 1. This time we're in Queensdale. Just a bit of background to this, what I'm planning to do for this series before we get into this video. I thought it would be of some interest, especially now players are going to be rewarded for going back to these areas. You know, you may have been like myself and kind of ran through these areas, not really paying too much attention to what was going on. I mean, I came across some things that linked to GW1 and I thought that's pretty cool. But I want to go through that in more depth, and you know, it's mainly going to be for players that are new to Guild Wars 2, but hopefully be of interest to some of you that have played Guild Wars 1 and missed a few of the links, or, you know, there are quite a few, so in fact I'll probably miss out some, so if you guys know of any, then just let me know. I'm going to do the cities and everything, the various racial cities, but I'm going to focus on the explorable regions for now. Not all of the regions were accessible in the first game, especially things like war, but there might still be lore which I can go into for them, and there are things that are linking, so I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, but it's fine for now. So the plan is to do the starting regions first, so I thought I'd start in Queensdale because I'm a human and it's a lovely place to start, so, and then I thought I'd go probably Norn, area Char, Azur and Silvari. And then follow the level progression through, you know, so the 15 to 25 areas, etc. So I hope that sounds of interest to you all. So I think the first thing to do with this video, now we're getting on with it, will be to give a bit of an overview of Queensdale. So you're looking at this region here. Actually, I may as well be running around while I'm doing something. It's the heartland of, according to the in-game descriptions, the heartland of the reforged human nation of Kryta. These rolling hills and well-watered fields are threatened by marauding centaurs or centaurs and thieving bandits. The Seraph serve as its protectors. And it's south of Divinity's Reach, this huge fuck-off city here, as you can see. And it takes up about half of the modern kingdom of Kryta. So Kryta extends down to Kessex Hills, Gadarin, Lion's Arch technically, but the Queen has no jurisdiction here, but I suppose historically it's part of Kryta, but kind of separate. And then there's some territory in Harathi, but yeah, so it's a sizable chunk basically. It's a large farming area, relatively safe apart from bandits and centaurs, mostly. But the centaurs, mostly in the eastern region, especially around here. This is the reason for the garrison. Then one other thing, because I won't cover this, I don't remember it coming up in the Guild Wars 1 lore, it's just mentioned Claypool. It has the largest forge in Kryta, and you do the Renown High here, which is training with the militia and helping them with arms and things, so you can see it's an important military kind of training base. So yeah, that's Queensdale in a nutshell, I guess. I think the first place to start is Shaymore, seeing as I'm here, village of Shaymore. So this place is led by a bloke called Mayor North. It's just south of Divinity's Reach, as you can see, obviously. The farms around here are the primary source of food for the people of Divinity's Reach. So it's massive, that place. So Christ knows how these farms supply that, but I'll roll with it. It's all good. I suppose there's quite a few. It's mostly sheltered from the centaurs due to the garrison here. But as the human initial instance will show, for any of you that have done that, if not, you'll see when you do it. I'm not going to give spoilers, but basically, it's the centaurs attacking. So it's sometimes not enough, and they sometimes will push up. Now, relating it to Guild Wars 1, it wasn't an outpost in itself. It was a small village in the first game, a lot smaller than it is now, a lot less urbanised. That was part of a mission, and that was later an explorable area called Divinity Coast. Now, I need to really do a different lore video for this because it talks about a group of the White Mantle, which is kind of confusing, but essentially in that mission, it was when you were allied with them in the first game. Later you find out that their motives are evil, to say the least. But it's when you're allied with them, and they have this thing called the Eye of Janthir, and they're basically, it's this tool that they can use to find villagers with kind of extraordinary magic in them, in a nutshell. It's kind of going to be kind of vague without going into it properly, but like I say, I think that needs a video of its own at least, or with other lore. So, but that's the first time you come across it, and it's not really much more to it other than that. It's that mission, really. It's kind of cool, but it looks a lot different, and yeah, it's a lot less significant. So that's basically Shaymore. The next thing that kind of crops up in GW1 is Beetleton. Now, this has got some interesting places. This was a really cool place to come to. Well, I'll explain in a second. But basically, now it's a town in Kryta, which is home to Minister Cordicus's mansion, particularly. So if any of you have done Cordicus's Manor, the dungeon, then you'll know what I'm on about. If not, I recommend doing it. Definitely at least the story, because they're all kind of fun. I like dungeons. But yeah, he's kind of dominating, as you can see by the statue, so he quite clearly loves himself. But to be fair, the people here seem to like him, whether or not that's just how they really feel, or if there are other reasons behind that, I don't know. As you'll find out from the dungeon, without spoiling it, basically there are people that don't really trust Cordicus for whatever reason, so I'll leave that to cryptic. But basically he does protect the town, he hires mercenaries and guards to protect it, and especially the farms down here, because this acts as much in the same way that the farms around Shaymore for Divinity's Reach. You know, this feeds people of Beetleton. So yeah, it was. I'm trying to think if explaining how it links in GW1. Now it was a pretty small outpost in GW1, but it was really weird because it was in the middle of, I think it was next to Nebo Terrace, which was an area that had a load of undead in, and it was kind of hard to get through, if I remember correctly, on your own. Like if you were max level or whatever, and you had a party, it's fine. But I know people that would farm it and things, and to get through that whole area was, unless you had the right build, was pretty tough. There were a lot of undead and varied professions and things. So, but it was cool when you came across it, because there wasn't, it wasn't like a massive lot going on there. It was kind of insignificant at the time. Now, since I found out a bit more information about it, and I seem to remember it briefly now, but there were some kind of mysterious towers around Beetleton, and you don't really find out anything about them, but you can find out that they used to protect. They did in the past protect Kryta from some sort of unknown threat, which would explain why they're so ruined and in bad condition. It's said to have come from the Giant's Basin, which is this area up here. Now, it's been speculated that it came from the island of Janthia, or the Isles of Janthia, which would be just north of this delta here. Again, without going into too much, because it's to do with the White Mantle, but basically it might link to the Mursat, who turns out to be the true identity of their unseen gods. But the Eye of Janthia that you use in that quest that I was talking about, that mission, sorry, Divinity Coast one, that links into the Mursat. So there's some potential there that it could be something to do with that. They could really expand on that and make that something really interesting, or just leave it up to the imagination, because to be honest, there's a lot it could be. So yeah, it was a cool place to come. Not much there, but really mysterious and cool. So kind of apt that there's a mysterious minister living there as well, I think. So it's kind of cool. Right, now this is kind of the third thing I wanted to show you. This is probably the last main thing, really. So, like I say, if you guys have spotted any others, let me know. But this is my favourite thing about this area in terms of lore, and I will explain why when it eventually loads. Okay, now I don't want to aggro anything. How brilliant, someone died. Wow. Okay. Please don't aggro loads of stuff. I can't. I don't want to. Okay. Oh, great. Anyway, this place is the Temple of Ages, or what's left of it. And you'll see a load of these statues in the water, and there's a skill point, which will... Sorry, be one about that. Which you can commune to, and you get this hint that it's a big place of power. And you notice how there's also all these lights around the base of the various statues. There's Dwayne over there, Cormier, Grenth, Melandri's up here. I'm not 100% sure where the others are. They're all around. Now this place was a place of worship. It was very sacred, where all the 6 human gods were worshipped. So there was, as I said, Melandru, who was nature, Duena, life and healing, Balthazar, fire, war, Grenth, death, Cormir, who was a later one, who was to do with truth, and Lissa, who's deception, and not deception, well, mesmers, is worship, illusion, I guess is the word. So yeah, they're all to do with kind of elements of various professions and things. And the initial professions all kind of were linked to a god of some kind, pretty much. So yeah, now that's kind of the background to it. There was a what's the best way to, sorry, I'm just rambling a bit here. There was worship in the temple. Now, again, this is something I want to talk about with the White Mantle, but the guy called Sword Alessio, who was essentially the White Mantle leader, he left Temple of the Ages kind of untouched. Now, like I said about their unseen gods briefly, they worshipped them, and they were kind of very overzealous about it, and they were kind of adamant that people in Kryta should worship that. But for some reason, he allowed the Temple of the Ages to continue, and the worship of the 6 gods to continue unabated, and it was allowed to stay. So, as I say, I'll go into that in great detail, but those are a bit cryptic, but it's quite interesting that he left it. So it kind of shows maybe how important this place is. Now, it's been sunk since, because when ore rose, there was this big tidal wave. As you can see by the fact that there's a lot more water than there used to be, if you noticed the first game. But yeah, and it sank the Temple of the Ages, essentially. And you can still see the ruin remains, as I've shown you, in all the statues. But the fact that they've still got these lights around them suggests that there's still a lot of power in this area. It's still very significant. Now, in the first game, the reason it was significant primarily is because it was a place where you could access the underworld, which is Grenth's realm, and the Fissure of Woe, which is Balthazar's realm. Now, these were endgame areas, essentially, high-level areas where you could get good loot. They required, well, very good farming builds, or you could have parties, and you get ectos, which at the time were uber rare things that were really important in trading and stuff. So I know they're rare now, but they were worth a significant amount then. So it was a place to launch there, and it was kind of cool because, again, kind of like Beetleton, it was tucked away, and you'd just come across it. I think I randomly came across it at one point, and then there were just loads of people here, and I was like, "What's going on?" And it was a launch place. So you would get a lot of, experienced players that came there. And it was also, I think, the only outpost in Kryta, actually, that you could form a party of 8, I think. So it was kind of a place where you could explore into other bits of Kryta, because you could take these henchmen and heroes with you. But, yeah, it was basically a significant place in terms of lore, and very significant for players as well. So, very important. And yeah, I just think it's really cool. I mean, a lot of you that played the first game will probably have come across it and know what it meant, but it's not Hidden Cliffham. What? But if you didn't, the significance. That's kind of the significance of it, and I recommend if you do try the first one and you've got a copy that you haven't played or something, just try and get Temple of Ages, and just see what's different about it, because it's kind of cool. So yeah, I hope that was of some use to people. I'm sorry there's not really more to go into. If you guys have seen anything, or noticed anything that I've missed, then let me know and I can edit or add, or go through it again at some point. But yeah, thanks very much for watching as always, and I will see you soon. Bye.